Welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Mark Goldberg, and this is Mark Vlogs Washes. This entire little intro that I've been doing for quite a while is an homage to my friend and dearly departed brother in arms, Andy Hunter Adrikos. Well, guys, I know that this is an unannounced little live stream that I've just thrown together impromptu ad hominem. But I have some stuff on my mind, so I thought I would chit chat with you about it. The subject of this vlog is Rolex. I just don't care anymore. And we're going to delve deeply into the subject of what's happening right now in Rolex prices, as well as the great big important news that the Rolex AD will be selling certified used Rolex. So if you have tuned into this video, after it's posted up, in other words, if you're not watching it in the Peanut Gallery live, then you will probably be annoyed because I'm going to have to say hello to a bunch of my friends here who I'm glad are piling into the room as we speak. And so you guys just, scrub ahead five minutes or so, and we should be through all the goofy niceties and into the meat and potatoes of this video, because we do have a topic here. Of course, I will want to answer questions and comments that people have regarding especially Rolex prices and the certified Rolex AD watch program. But first, let me say hello to a bunch of the guys here. And as usual, and as always, I would like to welcome Valen Greymoon to the show. Welcome to the program, Valen. Welcome to the show. First fist and respecto, sir. Thank you for joining. We have Ray Legend. We have from Canada, and as you always and as usual, McLovin. We have CPO Watches, Ray Legend. We have WJL from Singapore. I think it's cool if you tell me where you're from, guys. I guess Tom's from Austin, and hey to you too. Tom Cusano, Junior Johnson. By the way, I suppose that I'm rebel streaming right now. I think Archie is streaming, and as you know, I've been banned. Somebody paid $200 to ban me from the Archie show, or was it 250? What am I worth? 250 to ban me through January until January on the Pontiff's show. And honestly, I think that whoever did that did me a great favor, probably more me even than Archie, because when I chit chat on this channel, I get to confer with you. I get to talk to my people. I get to talk to people like Random Rob, and not deal with Archie. Hey guys, I call bull, but you still care. Well, we're going to talk about that, Rob. Tonight is tonight's the night. It is possible that I might care a little, Rob. Don't bust me out, dude. You know what it's like trying to make content for YouTube. You got to come up with titles for things. I mean, fellas, honestly, it's not like we're sitting around trying to create, like clickbait. And on the one hand, on the other hand, the algorithm is a tricky beast, people. And one of our tasks is to come up with topics and titles that will attract your attention so that you will tickle the underarm of the algorithm. YouTube is a fickle beast, and she will eat her content, and she will eat it raw. Lux Report, and again with the McLovin, the Daytona. I don't know what's CPO, but 62,000. Well, you can get a Daytona a lot less than that. What's the CPO one? Mark Thomas. For me, Rolex is dead. Going for Omega. Rolex will never die. It will not die for me. There's just some things that I used to care about that I don't care about at all anymore. I just put the watch model, Random Rob. Random Rob has the best watch channel out there, or certainly one of them. And you guys, I mean, look, I'm going to take it for granted that you're already subscribing to Rob. But if by some reason you're not, oh yeah, certified pre-owned. Yeah, that's nuts. Certified pre-owned. That's what CPO is. Okay, thanks, McLovin. Okay, let's jump right into the topic at hand here. And let's tackle first the big, the incredible, the unbelievable news that every Rolex vlogger, every watch vlogger has created a video about, except for me until now, which is the Rolex certified pre-owned we're selling Rolex used at the AD. We're certifying them. We're putting a 3-year warranty, I think, is the deal on them, and we're servicing them and we're selling them to you. And what I have to say about that is, who the hell cares? And hell is not the word that I was thinking of. Who cares? This is not big news. This is like this is landing like a turd. Who cares? This is not big news. And let me start by telling you why. Because the AD has always had the option of selling used Rolex for whatever price they want. They are no longer bound. Look, let's start over. Rolex is a corporation that manufactures watches in Geneva. They do not sell watches to you. Rolex has never sold a watch to a collector. However, Rolex contracts with hundreds in the United States and thousands worldwide independent jewelry stores. Some of them have more than one location or more than one unit. Some of them are individual or 2, 3, 4 unit mom and pop jewelry stores called the AD. Others like Torno may own 20 or 30 locations, and then they're corporately owned. But Rolex does not sell to you, does not sell to me. You have never bought from Rolex. I have never bought from Rolex. The only people who have ever bought from Rolex are the AD, and there are several thousand of them scattered worldwide. Now, the AD, the authorized dealers, they have each of them a contract with Rolex, and it's an onerous contract. It's a super detailed contract which covers virtually every aspect of their marketing and sales of Rolex. And the larger ADs, for example, almost all the ADs have got to be in, for example, the high rent district. Rolex will not sign you as an AD, if you're next to the 7-Eleven in a strip mall. You've got to be in the high rent district in town, number one. And if that should change, by the way, if the nature of the neighborhood should change, Rolex might come along and tell you, hey, Joe Blow AD, you got to move, or we're pulling the contract. We'll give you a year or two to figure this out, but we don't like this side of town anymore. So Rolex got to be in the high rent district, number one. Number two, we want Rolex, depending on the location, most of them are at the front of the store. 1 or 2 of the older distributors, we're allowed to have Rolex at the back of the store. But we want Rolex to be in our cases that we will sell you. We want Rolex to occupy X amount of square feet in your store, which means that we'll calculate out a percentage. And we're going to give you an advertising allowance, not money that we're going to give you, money that we expect you to invest in catalogs, mailings, billboards, and we want to see what's your plan for marketing Rolex, which is why near any major airport, well, like in Chicago, 3 or 4 of the different Chicago ADs all have like giant billboards, like right off of I-90, which is our major expressway, tollway. Okay, and they're showing yacht masters and submariners and all kinds of just beautiful sky dwellers, and they change those things every month. And guys, I'm pretty sure that a big lit up billboard on a major highway near a major airport like O'Hare, I think those things are like $25,000 a month, easily a month. Tell me if you're in the marketing business and you know what a billboard costs. I think that kind of billboard is coming in at around 25 G's a month. Well, anyway, why am I telling you all this? Because the AD has that contract with Rolex. And one of the things that contract covers is you will sell the watches that we send you at MSRP, which is to say you're not allowed to conflate or inflate the prices. So there's that. Now, we know that some of the ADs are not good and they kind of cheat on their Rolex agreement. And in some cases, Rolex has let them. I say let them. I have no proof, but it seems to all of us, doesn't it, that Rolex has to know that some of these ADs are selling watches out the back door, which is why I divide the Rolex AD into 2 major camps, the good and the bad. The bad do whatever they want. Some of them get shut down because of it, and then the good ones. And I think there's a ton of good ones. And to my eye, by the way, the easiest way to try and pick a good one is not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but I think these smaller family-owned ADs really pay a lot of attention to the relationship with Rolex. because Rolex is a really important component of the line, brings so much traffic into their store that they can convert into selling things that they really make the money on, which is like engagement rings and Valentine's Day gifts and anniversaries, gold and diamond jewelry, where the margin is a bit better and a bit more predictable than the Rolex inventory. So anyway, those guys have always, since the beginning of time, been able to buy Rolex back from a customer. So let's say somebody bought a Submariner from an AD in 2017, and here we are in 2023. So some years later, the guy's just tired of his watch. And let's say he wants to buy something else, or let's say he's just done with it. He never wears the thing. It sits in a drawer. He's always been able to go back to the AD that he bought it from, or any other AD, or any other jewelry store, pawn store, wherever. But a lot of these guys go back to their own AD. They go, hey, I bought this here 5 years ago. Is there any chance that you would be interested in buying it back from me? Now, you, the collector, already know that you're going to get a lowball offer from the AD if you do such a thing. Now, I say lowball offer, but I guess I should just pause for a quick second and tell you what I mean by that. They have high operating costs. They have high overhead. The AD has that giant commitment that they've made with Rolex. They have big rent. They have great fixtures. They're willing to give you a high-end retail buying experience. So they've got high overhead. And so naturally, they're not going to be able to offer you quite as much. They need a bit more margin than does, let's say, a guy who doesn't have bricks and mortar. Bob's watches, now I know Bob's has got, they do have a bricks and mortar location somewhere in Florida, but they do the vast majority of their resale of used watches through Florida. Good operation. I've bought from them along with a bunch of other guys on the secondary market. People I like, David SW. Nashville Watches often has good prices. I like Federico and John. But they're not held to the same standard of super high rent, so they can control their operating costs more, which is exactly what I would want to do if I'm selling watches. Anyway, the AD has always been able to buy a watch and then put it in a case of used watches and sell it at that point for whatever price they wanted. They usually price them a bit higher than what you would find on the secondary market. Why? Well, first off, they serve a completely different clientele. I mean, the guy who's calling Del Rey watches or David SW watches or Bob's watches or Nashville watches, or pardon me if you're a used watch dealer and I'm missing you here. But calling any of these people is a different animal. The collector, like you and me, we're thinking value-driven purchase. A Rolex Submariner 40 millimeter, it's a commodity, but we want box and papers. We want good condition. We might want a certain, within a certain year range. And then after that, it's all price and condition driven. The guy walking into a Rolex AD being told, hey, we don't have any new ones. Sorry, we could put you on a waiting list, but that could take a really long time. But you want to come over here to this counter? We got a bunch of used ones here. At that point, free market. It's absolutely free market, free willy. Do whatever you want over there. So the notion that certified pre-owned Rolex is like something new, it's just actually Rolex Geneva, the manufacturer, sticking their nose a little deeper into the AD's business. That's all this is. I mean, the fact that used cars are sold certified pre-owned at certain dealers. Listen, if you're a newbie, you're not like a watch aficionado, then getting that 3-year warranty might mean something to you because you're getting it from Rolex. Having it serviced might mean something to you because you're a newbie. You're worried. This is like a huge purchase. And you don't really understand watches. So maybe the certified pre-owned will give you a certain trust, a certain comfort level, and maybe you need that. Me, I don't need that at all. Here's what I know. A 40 millimeter, a 41 millimeter Rolex, it's like bomb proof. The thing probably needs a service every 10 to 15 years is all, number one. Number two, if it's an uncomplicated watch, that service is probably going to cost me no more than $750 if it even needs it. Number three, if I'm buying it from any of the above named guys that I've named earlier, which is to say, let's call them trusted sellers. If I'm buying it from any trusted seller, they're going to give me anywhere between 1 and 2 years warranty on that watch anyway. I mean, what can Rolex do to make that better? Well, what they can do is they can give you a cute little pouch. Now the pouch is nice. I have one. It's the same pouch that the Rolex service center puts the watch in after they service. So, and they're doing the service. So the pouch comes along with, and service papers. Oh, but you know what? The only thing that you could possibly get that's a little bit new is the cute little plastic hang tag. You will pay thousands of dollars for that cute little plastic hang tag. This is such baloney to think that look, all you need to know, guys, when you're buying a pre-owned Rolex is, and this is very important, that it is a legitimate non-counterfeit Rolex. There's a lot of ways that you can do that will come a whole lot cheaper than buying certified pre-owned, because my best guess is that certified pre-owned watches are going to cost easily 20% more than you would find them on the gray market. So everybody's saying Rolex has just killed the gray market. Oh, grow up. Come on. Study the market. Right now on the gray market, you can buy a Panda for, like $29,000, 20, maybe even 28. I'm not in touch with the current exact tanking price, but I'm pretty sure you can get a Panda for something like 28. And I'll tell you what, not quite a year ago, I made a prediction that they were going to hit $100,000. And this is the Home Alone pose. I haven't stopped taking crap for that ever since ever since the prices have been dipping. The guys who think I'm an idiot. Well, you look at your stock portfolio. Look at the S&P 500. Look at your Tesla stock. Okay, it's the exact same thing. It's a retrenchment. I'm quite convinced it'll come back. But yeah, prices are retrenching, and we're going to talk about that second. So given that you can go onto the gray market and buy a Panda for, let's call it 28, box and papers, decent condition, which by the way is double retail. So I still think that's, as the owner of a Panda purchased at retail, I think the only people who got hurt buying Pandas were the people who bought it at the utter peak, which was around 50. So yeah, if you bought it at 50 and now it's worth 28, theoretically, okay, you have lost some money, but unless you've sold it to bail out like a chicken, buck, 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 I have to sell it, oh my God, buck, buck, buck. As long as you held, what you have is an unrealized loss. Unrealized. You haven't realized, you have not taken the hit. Be brave, be strong, hold your watches, they will come back. And quite frankly, you should not be buying for investment purposes anyway. You should be buying because the Panda is amazing and you love it. Ron the Shrink and I had dinner the other night, and I brought 2 watches for Ron to play with. One he asked me to bring, which was the Rolex Sprite, the Destro, the Lefty GMT, and that was the one he thought he was gonna, get a little bit juicy over. But let me tell you what, guys, I had a Panda in my pocket, and yes, I was glad to see him. And when I pulled the Panda out of my pocket, his eyes got really big and he couldn't quit playing with that. And then all of a sudden he couldn't even see the Sprite anymore. All he wanted to do was make sweet, gentle love to that Panda. So Ron, if you're out there, I'm sure you are, you know what I'm talking about. The Panda, that's going to be your grail. I could see it in your eyes. But the fact of the matter is you can go get one right now. It's a very sturdy, predictable, easy to service, cheap to own, cheap to operate. It's not cheap to buy it, but it's low overhead in the sense that, unlike an AP, you're not going to get a third butthole trying to keep it serviced. Very robust watch, very strong watch, a watch that's impervious to reasonably careful ownership. Okay. Yeah, you could scratch it up a little bit, but they're practically magnetic proof. They'll take a shock. So it's a very robust watch, is a Rolex. Very water resistant, etc. Okay. But if you buy that same watch for 28 on the gray market, what's it going to go for at the dealer, at the AD certified pre-owned? Now, McLovin said 60. I can't imagine. I don't think so. But I bet you'll spend 35. I mean, a whole lot more. So how's it going to kill the gray market? It's not. CPO, certified pre-owned Rolex, this whole new program is a marketing ploy that I think will be very good for one party only. And this isn't a bad thing. I mean, I think that and it'll be the AD. I think it's going to be good for the AD. I don't think it will be bad for us. I just think it will be good for the AD. And honestly, I think it's about time Rolex did something beneficial for the AD. Because remember, the AD makes money off of the sale of watches. And if Rolex barely gives them any inventory to sell, well, how are they supposed to make money while they're busy buying those $25,000 a month billboards? I mean, let's look at it from their perspective. So Rolex has given them something to make their money off of, but they're not going to make it off of me. They're not going to make it off of you. They're going to make it off of a bunch of noobs. Super chat. We have a super chat, which I will get to in just a moment. So thank you so much for that. I just want to run quickly through a few little thingy dingies. Okay. One wildly circulated pic on the internet. Hello, watch people. I am a proud Rolex hater. Good for you. I love the brand. I mean, quick fist watch check wearing the Hulk. Actually, guys, the Hulk is the one that this is the one that if I had to pick one and only one, it'd be the Hulk. Thank God I don't have to pick. I love the watches. I love the brand. I love how I feel in a Rolex. Honestly, I do. I just don't love the tricks and the games, and I, don't care anymore. And we'll talk more about Rolex prices, and we'll get your feedback on this Rolex certified pre-owned program. But I don't think it's going to affect us, and I certainly don't think it's going to affect the gray market at all. In fact, I think it might help the gray market, and here's why. When the gray market has that panda for like the market price, okay, it's like going in and buying, lobster at a restaurant, market price. Well, it fluctuates according to how much the catch is, what fuel costs, and all like that. So market price right now on a panda is like 28. They're not going to sell it for market price. They're going to market way up from that. And good for the AD for being able to make some money on that, but they're not going to make it off of us. They're going to make it off the newbies. That's fine. CPO watch Bucher are more insane than gray. Absolutely. Certifiably used. Hello, Mr. Rizzo. A little crosstalk. Hello, Junior Johnson. Okay. I think Paul's talking about that. There must have been a picture of a $60,000 Panda or, Daytona. I mean, there's a lot of Daytonas out there. And some of them even right now, are selling for way over $60,000. Some of the gold ones. Some of the gold ones with baguettes on a Oyster Flex, and the ones with they're rare and few and far between, but the ones with the meteorite dial, they're way over 60, so they may be out there. Mark, where's your Negroni? You should be celebrating the completion of your first book. Where can we get the copy of The Art of Training Your Dog? Well, thanks, Craig. I love your picture, Craig. Shit, that's Bill Sanders in the beret. That's hysterical. Hi, this is Bill Sanders. I'm here to talk to you today about, hold on. I forgot. Wait, give me a second. Hold on. Hi, this is Bill Sanders. I'm here today to talk to you about a new medication called Lyrique. Causes fits of paranoia and oily diarrhea. Okay, so the Negroni, first off, you could probably tell by my animated discussion with you guys this evening that I've already consumed it. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is thank you for mentioning my third book. It won't be out till Christmas next year, but I'm very excited waiting for it. Can't wait to tell you more about that one. And The Art of Training Your Dog and Let Dogs Be Dogs, available wherever books are sold. So pretty much wherever you'd buy a book, online or in a store. Love your content. Haven't explored 2 Polar. I had one of them for a minute. New old stock. My font spacing is a double-spaced OP date underneath the logo. Should I sell it due to my OCD and concern about it? The flat four, the fat four, the fat lady, the double spaced OP. I mean, Rolex collectors, Mark One, all these little things that Rolex collectors get extremely obsessed about. Let me tell you what, overall, the market doesn't care. Only not just Rolex collectors, but that subset of super weird Rolex collectors, violinist William, just like you, care about that stuff. No, don't sell it. Keep it. It's probably more of a collector's item, but understand something. It's a very small subset of collectors who care. Is there a crown there? Is that a flat four? Is that a fat four? The average Rolex collector only cares that it's a Rolex in reasonable condition. And Jay, by the way, does it have boxing papers and what year is it? So calm down, enjoy. And, I would think of it as a little pizzicato. It's a little dance through the musical scale that is Rolex. Pizzicato, forte. Enjoy your Rolex. Do not sell it. In the immortal words of our dearly departed friend, Blue Shirt Buddha, never sell Rolex. Never sell Rolex. Never sell Rolex. Violinist William, I'm going to end on this note. I bought mine for almost right around $3,000, and I just saw one for sale for like $8,000, $9,000. So I wish I wouldn't have sold mine. I didn't like it because it has hollow center links, but that's just me. Hello from Central Illinois, up here in the Chicago area. Backdoor, Hans, hey, wherever you like it, it's okay with me. Been waiting since 2018 to get a damn Samara. DGM, that's just insane. I mean, you're not on a wait list if it's been since 2018. You're on a go away list, and right now, let me tell you guys, right now, this is a 40 millimeter. Now it's a special edition because it's the Hulk. But this exact watch in black on black, you can get it box and papers right now for around 12. If you shop around, I don't know, 11.5. It's the sweet spot. Just go get one. eBay, the gray market. This is the watch that you should be in right now. DGM, you have not been waiting since 2018. You have been getting older and coming closer to death. That's what you've been doing. So stop. Go get you a Submariner. Go buy one. Go pay around 11.5 or 12, and do it now. Stop. Stop getting ever closer. Tick tock. Tick tock. Tick tock. The angel of death is on your shoulder, going tick tock. Tick. Go get yourself one. All right. Hans is done with watches. I mean, there comes an age. I know there will come an age where I'll be like, stupid. Let me liquidate everything and just keep one. Probably this will be the one. But, I know it'll happen. David, been offered a 2005 pre-ceramic GMT Coke, just service, box and papers, pristine condition, no holes model. People like that holes model. I don't know. Gentlemen prefer holes. And it's about $2 more than the holes model. Worth the difference? Yeah. I mean, most guys, when they get into vintage, they like that holes model. Me, I don't like any of the pre-ceramics because I don't like aluminum bezels, and I don't like ceramic, or I don't like aluminum bezels. I don't like stamped clasps, and I don't like hollow center links. But if you like it, then go. We're at a good point in time to be buying this stuff right now. All right, guys, I'm going to skip way down to that super chat. Thank you for this. Omarian with €6. How does the CPO program, certified pre-owned Rolex program, tie in with the new factory Rolex is building in Bulle and set to be completed in 2029? What's the long-term plan? These are great questions. Okay, so first off, I don't really think there's a connection other than a smart, and finally, I think the certified pre-owned program is an attempt to feed the AD the opportunity to make a bit more profit while Rolex is busy controlling supply and demand, which has inadvertently harmed. I think it's harmed the AD. And guys, we need the AD. nobody will be. I have bought watches from the Breitling boutique, which is the Breitling online boutique. And let me tell you, it's not that special. It's like going on to Amazon.com, and buying a roll of, toilet paper or a case of toilet paper that comes to your house, dog food. I mean, fellas, think back a few years to when Amazon was new, Amazon Prime was new, and it was unbelievable, when your package was there 2 days later. And that was really cool. But now it's just de rigueur. It's just business as usual. And now the Amazon truck pulls up, drops something, and you're like, I'll go out there and get it a little bit later. It's not special. The Rolex AD strives to give you a premium retail experience. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to hate on me in the comments now, like, oh, the Rolex AD, the heck with them. Understand something. The Rolex AD is subject to the inventory that Rolex in Switzerland will send them. And these guys have no control over it, but they're stuck paying for those billboards and all that other nonsense. So I feel like on some level, this is a symbiotic relationship between the collector and the AD. And honestly, we need them now. And also I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, yes, I'm a dog trainer, but that just means I own a dog training business. So I have an entrepreneurial bent, and I have an appreciation for a guy who's got to take on a massive amount of overhead and then just, wait for whatever little bit of inventory he can possibly get or not get. This is my TV doing crazy stuff. So the fact that Rolex has created a program that will not harm the collector, but will, pump up the AD a little bit while they're busy trying to figure out how to make a little bit more inventory. I think that's a good thing. Now, as to your question about the factory and what's the long-term plan, I'm going to really just kind of condense this for you here. But Rolex spends $1 billion, 1 billion with a B, as in oh baby. They spend $1 billion every decade on marketing. Rolex is everywhere rich people want to be. And then there's that trickle-down theory, so that even the successful plumber or dog trainer, in my case, wants a Rolex as a sign of, hey, look, guys, I've made it. I'm wearing a Rolex. And it makes us feel good. Okay, but Rolex is squarely in control of creating incredible demand and then supplying less than that demand. Why? Because Rolex is a luxury prestige brand, and that word luxury and prestige, that is very ephemeral. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. It is a difficult to define thing that has all to do with the cachet of a brand. And in order to have brand cachet, you want it to be expensive, so that it's not like, a middle of the road, every guy can get one. It's not Omega. They're not trying to be Omega. Omega is expensive, and Omega is excellent watches, Omega. But Omega is not Rolex, and here's why. You can walk into a boutique and buy one. And Rolex, you can walk into the AD and then fall upon your knees, and bring them donuts and Starbucks and see what happens in a year or two. One of our friends, I just read his comment. He's been waiting since 2018. That's the angel of death on your shoulder, buddy, going tick tock, tick tock. Don't wait any longer. Okay, so Rolex is always going to want to create fewer watches than there are customers. That's the reality of it. So the long-term plan, I'm going to end on this comment. Rolex 10, 20 years ago, I remember walking in and you could buy any number of them you want. They were relatively cheap. They've just, when I bought my first Rolex, the Submariner at that time cost around $1,200. That was like $12,000. So what does Rolex want? Rolex wants to be Patek Philippe. They want to double or triple their prices from where they are now. And they want to let the gray market and the CPO program push those prices upward on Rolex. They want to be Patek Philippe in terms of pricing and exclusivity, but with half the horology. A Patek Philippe, they make 80, 90,000 of them. And there's one watchmaker will spend weeks, working on a Patek Philippe. I love the Rolex brand, but they say, and I believe, that human hands touch every one of them. And they're flying down the assembly line. I touched you. I touched you. I touched you. They have a master watchmaker just going bink, bink, bink. Now, I'm sure those watches are tested and cased, and and it is a labor-intensive process. But Rolex has invested an awful lot in robotics, so they can make this stuff faster and better, really, than anybody else can. So Rolex wants to be Patek, and they're going to bring Tudor along to fill the gap for where Rolex was before, and they're just going to leave Omega in place right where it is now, second best. So that's what I think. Do you guys agree with me? Let me know what you all think. Okay. Let me just get back up into some of these comments. Bear with. Alexandre Vigo is on the list for a root beer or a Pepsi, whichever comes first, and then I'm done. Well, Alejandro, are you ever really done? I mean, are we ever really? Because here's the funny story. Talk about my feelings of the gray market. The brand prices. This is a good time for me to talk about. I don't care about these brand prices falling anymore. I don't care about it. Matter of fact, I'm looking at these brand prices falling, and it's not that I don't care. I'm kind of glad for it. I have wanted a Pepsi for a long time, Alexandre. And as you know, it's a beautiful watch. But gosh, they topped out, at the top of the market when Bitcoin was like $60,000 for a Bitcoin. And what are they now? Like 18, 19, 20? The Pepsi was topped out around nearly 30, which was just impossible for me, just like nuts. And so as they've come down substantially, I jumped in on a naked Pepsi for $17.5. And here's the thing, that was a month or two ago. And I bet you in another month or two, you'd probably be able to buy one full set for that for $16. So will you ever really be done? I'm not sure. Maybe you'll be done with the AD, but I think that we have a buying opportunity from the gray market right now, not from the CPO. Guys, the certified professional used watch at the Rolex AD is for the newbie who really needs the hand holding that they offer. They're going to get their value out of it. It's a Rolex. It's been serviced. It comes with either box and papers or the cute little hang tag. It's going to be a Rolex, and it'll be a good Rolex. So there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But as you buy, sell, trade, and you get deeper into the sickness, the rabbit hole that is this hobby, then you begin to learn not where to cut corners, but where to save money. And the gray market or individual sales, the forums, even eBay, with authentication, these are the places to do that. One of the best tricks that you can do is when you buy a watch, just take it to a Rolex AD. Most of them will no longer authenticate for free for you, or they just be doing nothing but all day. But most of those jewelers, ADs are jewelers, they will do they're licensed appraisers. So they'll do an appraisal for you. So you go in there and you tell them, hey, I'd like an insurance appraisal on this Pepsi GMT that I just bought in the used market. And then, yeah, great. Here, we'll write you a chip for it. It's $100. We'll call you in about a week and you come back and pick up your watch and your appraisal. And that's how that's done. I don't know. That appraisal will range anywhere in small markets, maybe to $75 or $85 to maybe $130, $140, in a big expensive market. But that's your authentication cost, and it's a good cost. Or you could always just buy the watch, send it immediately to the Rolex service center or the AD, and ask them to service it. But then you're paying for a whole service. But if you bought it naked like I did, you're going to get that pouch, and you're going to get service papers, which authenticates the watch and makes it easier for you to resell later. So, well, to finish up with Alexander's comment here. Honestly, I got the Pepsi. I'm on the list, a real list for root beer. It's also magnificent. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. It's going to be amazing. Philippines Antics X-Bag help. Oh, it's George and Heidi. Hi guys. I wish I had seen you here before. Thank you so much for joining me. fellas, fellas, watch collectors, people in general, I want to tell you, this channel, Philippines Antics Expat Help, is a newer channel. I don't think they're much more than about a year old, but they are killing it with content for people interested in retiring in the Philippines. And I don't know why. Look, I'm a dog trainer, but I can't watch dog videos because like I do it all day long and I got to clear my head, of it. Number one. Yeah, there are some watch videos that I watch. Guys like Random Rob, I love his channel and I watch. And Bruce Williams, and they have a couple friends in this, watch craziness that I watch. But mostly I need to do something completely unrelated to watches to just kill time, refresh myself, and have a fascination with visiting and thinking ultimately maybe long term retiring in the Philippines. These guys, George and Heidi, are just phenomenal. But subscribe to their channel or at least watch a couple of their videos. They are freaking hysterical. Heidi is a woman, is an American woman married to a Filipino man who was born, raised, and had family in the Philippines, but then spent the last 20 years in the United States. They married, and now they wound up retired back in the Philippines. They have such good content, so check them out. These are my favorite people in the Philippines, bar none. Okay, Craig Shit saw there I am looking at Bill Sanders in that beret. Hi, it's Bill. My name is Bill. Don't tell me. Hold on. Sanders. That's right. I saw an unworn green OP41 on David SW for $11K. Pretty damn tempting. That is nice. And I bought one of those private collection about 6 months ago. Well, they were just starting to dip down. And I bought it for $10,500. It's a beautiful watch. I really like that one a whole lot. But I'm going to tell you, David SW, I would buy without reservation from David SW, and you may pay 2 or 3% more buying from David SW than you might buying elsewhere. But I think it's worth it because he has the experience, he has the inventory, he'll stand behind the watch. You don't always need to save $500 on a watch because sometimes that means you're being penny wise and pound foolish, especially if you have a problem later. So I really like selling and buying from David SW, and I have done both. But I will say the reason I'm saying this other bit is I saw that same watch for like $10,700 somewhere else. And so I'm glad that I told my guy this watch is trending down. I love it, but I'm afraid to pay the $13,000 that you're asking for because I think that's top of market. And he said, that's fine. And we did a very nice transaction. But I now have 3 of those damn OP41s. I've got the Tiffany, I've got that green one, and then I have the dark blue, which is the Sunray blue. And they are beautiful. Aussie Expat watches, the ADs already do pre-owned, and they always did, just a rubber stamp. Yeah, so I agree. I'll wait for new from the AD unless the certified pre-owned comes with Vaseline. Yeah, you're going to get fisted a little bit for that. I mean, look, William, if you already have an AD relationship, then it's worth waiting if they'll really fulfill your order. What it's really super hard for are those guys who haven't really had not formed the AD relationship before the worldwide sniffles disease came out, right? Because that cut inventory down and it just made it more exclusive, harder to get, and then a lot of guys say, well, I've been on the wait list, like our friend, since 2018, but they haven't been into the store since 2018 and a half. That's not a wait list. If you want to form a relationship with an AD, let me tell you how you do it. You go in there every other month to see the same sales associate, have a chit chat, talk watches, express your interest, and then disappear. And do not go on a Saturday. Go on an oddball time when it's not busy. Every other month. And you may have to do that for 2 years. But if you do that, they will sell you a watch. I guarantee it. But stopping in there and going, hey, got a James Cameron? Put me on the list. And then leaving and never going back. And then 3 years later going, bastards, never sold me anything. I've been on that list. You're not on a list. You're on a go away list. invest a little bit of effort in the relationship. If you want them to sell you a watch which has higher intrinsic value than what you will pay for it, put a little effort into the romance, guys. Like, what is the problem with that? Just go in there every other month. Don't be a pest. Every other month keeps it at a reasonable level. Don't call. That's a pain in the ass. Don't email. Go in. And also, if you were going to buy earrings for the wife, get them there. Do that kind of thing. All right, let's see what else we got here. I just want a 41 millimeter no date. Well, those are on the gray market at a reasonable deal. Even the Starbucks, they're over retail, but they're not crazy. Or go play the AD game. Either way. Hans saying 11K for an OP. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Tiffany, the discontinued one. I mean, look, it went nuts. Okay, what did it go up to? It also went up to like 50, which was crazy. I bought mine for 17, and I think you can still get them for like, what are they now? The OPs and Tiffany, 22, maybe 20. I don't know. I know they're a bit more than I paid, but for a $6,000 watch, is it crazy? Yeah, it's crazy. But if you weren't crazy to begin with, you wouldn't be here. And there's 130 of you crazy people with me right now. Go green or go home. I do like my green OP. I do. Just looking for a little bit more of your comments. Certified pre-owned will be used by buyers to increase their buying history and improve their relationships with the AD. So Tom Austin, that's not a bad point. You're throwing a bone to the AD if you do that. I mean, actually, that's a really good point. Let's say you want to buy that no date 41 millimeter sub that our buddy was just talking about, but you don't have any buying history with the AD and you're not willing to go in there every other month for 2 years, So, okay, if you go in there and you overpay for it, then maybe they'll put you in line for something else. That's not a bad point. Not a bad point at all. Certified pre-owned is a marketing ploy to keep the prices inflated. They're already listed online at the higher end of pre-owned prices. They always have been, watch and unwind. So I'm not so sure that it is a ploy to keep the market inflated. I think they're just creating a program that allows for additional profit at the AD. And honestly, the AD needs that. Remember, the AD makes their money by selling the inventory which Rolex sends them and over which they have zero control. However, they are held to a very high standard to create the upscale retail experience, and that means their overhead is astronomically high. So I think it's a good thing that Rolex is creating that profit opportunity for the AD. I do. I just don't think that you and I are we're not the prototypical customer for that, but that's all right. The new guy, the guy who's buying his first Rolex ever, he's going to need that retail experience because he's going to want to know, I've got a bricks and mortar store standing behind this object, this family-owned business, been here for 25 years. It's going to be worth it for him to pay more to get a watch that has just been serviced. Yeah, it's worth it. So I just don't think it's the program quite for us. Buy now, regret later. Fair point. I'm not selling Rolex, not even to the AD. Well, that's a good thing. Selling Rolex, well, first off, Blue Shirt Buddha never sell Rolex, and he was right. But the key thing, like, listen, if you bought Rolex and it's worth more than what you paid, hold, enjoy the watches. If you bought Rolex and it's worth less than what you paid, hold, enjoy the watches, and it'll come back up eventually. You buy for love. You don't buy for investment instruments. Okay. If you want an investment instrument, well, then buy the S&P 500, but Rolex, you're not buying futures. You're buying, 401, 904L steel or gold or whatever it is. Just enjoy it. And honestly, the last guy you want to sell to is the AD because he's going to give you less. He's going to give you less. Taking Tanzeel's advice and saving up for a Lyrique purchase. Okay, well, that's funny. It's kind of a private inside joke, but I do find that very funny. Gigi also wearing a Hulk. I love mine. I do. I mean, I have a few Rolexes. I have a few Rollies, but I feel like this is probably, of all of them, my favorite. Barely wear my Starbucks, but I prefer the 41 fit and shape. Well, I don't own a 41. This is a 40, and I have 3 different ones, but in 40. However, I will say I have tried on the 41, and it's very nice. I mean, the lug shape is more elegant, and I like it. Probably the part that I dislike, the only part that I really dislike, is this clasp on the 41 is, I'm exaggerating, but it's definitely wider. It's definitely longer. It takes up a whole lot more wrist space underneath. Whereas I find this particular taper very elegant. I mean, I really like it, and it's much broader and it's way chunkier in the 41s. That's where the metal went, was, underneath, and I don't really love that. Well, the Panda CPO 62.5 in Europe. Well, again, I don't know who's going to pay that, but probably just the guy walking in and going, I'll have that. I want it now. I have money. That's not us. That is not us. So Watch and Unwind got 2 Rollies at retail without a purchase history, and an OP41 green and a two-tone Datejust 41. Well, now you got purchase history, don't you? I assume they were from the same guy, and who knows? There are good ADs out there who just say, "Hey, I just got a shipment in," and the next guy who walks in and asks for one, if he's reasonably polite, I'm gonna sell it to him. I love ADs like that. Are they going to make the AD send the resales into service? These are good questions, and I don't know the exact particulars, but I'll tell you what, I'll ask around, and I'll get you some more information on that in a future update. And some of the ADs are Rolex service centers in their own right and able to do certain of the watches, right there. So I'm not sure that every service center located in an AD, because some of them have Rolex certified watchmakers. My AD does. Now, I don't know, for example, that they do the Sky Dweller, but I know that they do the Submariner. So they're paying their own labor, is how that works. Does Walter Maldonado, does your AD really care if you sell it? And the answer is sort of, and yes. So your AD sells you a hot model watch, and you're like, ooh, I got this thing here, and I could get back into the car, make a quick call, and turn a 7, 8, 10, 15, depending on what you got, $1,000 profit on this watch, and you do it. Your AD is if they get wind of this, they're not going to like it, especially if you have something else on order, because they're going to tell you, hey, that Starbucks that I sold you? Well, I have your GMT, your Pepsi has just come in. Wear the Starbucks in when you come so we can see it and steam clean it for you. We'll clean it up. Let's have a look at it, though. They do care. And the reason is that they are worried that Rolex is out there looking at serial numbers on the resale market, trying to identify ADs who sell to flippers. Now, do I feel like that's kind of an overblown fear? Yeah, a little bit. Rolex isn't quite the Gestapo trying to nail any particular AD. And if they wanted to, it wouldn't be that hard. But the really good, the smaller family-owned ADs, honestly, they worry about this kind of stuff. And I get it. They have such high overhead. And that Rolex AD distributorship is very important to them. And it draws the people into their store, gives them a certain level of prestige. So I do not blame them one tiny little bit for being very picky about who they sell watches to, because what they want to avoid is their Rolex rep calling them up and going, hey, I just found 4 watches on the resale market that trace right back to your store in the last 6 months. We don't like that. We're angry at you. That could happen, and they don't want that. So they're very careful to sell to people that they have buying history with, who they know, who they have good reason to believe that they can sell a watch for X, knowing that it's worth double X on the resale market, but you're going to hold it anyway. So it's like an act of faith for them to sell to you. And I understand that. And if you understand that, you'll have a much better opportunity to make that buying relationship work. You're not entitled to buy from a Rolex distributor. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And I know that is mind blowing. When you got money on the credit card, you just want to swipe it. Now, dare they not take my money? But they have their own set of business problems. And if you can understand those, then you are way ahead in figuring out how to make that relationship work. They have problems too, Okay. I went on and on about that. Well, let me kind of summarize here. That being said, I feel like every AD understands that 2, 3, 4 years later, you might need to trade out of it because, you might have gotten your wife and your mistress and your girlfriend pregnant all at the same time. You might need money. The roof could blow off your house. You get tired of watches. You retired, went fixed income, or you just want to get something different and recycle the money. So I think that there's an expiration date on how long the AD will care about it. The hotter the watch, the longer the expiration date. But I would think as a general rule of thumb, if I have to put a time limit on there, I would say 3 years later, the average AD is not going to worry about it. That's what I think. Guys, how about throwing a like on this while we're all together? So real quick, don't leave, but throw a like on this video. We're going to be here a while longer, but give me a like. Let's see what else we got going on here. Go Gray for the sub. Yeah, there's a fellow was saying that he's been on the wait list since 2018. That is insane. Just go buy your sub. I absolutely agree. If you got to get the 41, you'll pay a bit over retail, but not a ton. And the 40, I feel like the 40, this is a Hulk green dial, green bezel. But I have this watch. Man, I have this same freaking watch, exactly the same, box and papers, just black on black, black dial, black bezel. And guess what I paid for it? $8,500, full set. Not at the AD, used. Boy, things changed in the interim. So actually, that was an interesting story. I bought it on eBay. It's authentic. I'm all cool. Bought it on eBay, and I bought it naked. And before they shipped me the watch, they sent me an email and said, hey, we thought this was naked, but we found the box and papers. We have them, so we'll be including that too. No extra charge. We made the deal. We're going to live with it. And they gave me and they have bricks and mortar, several bricks and mortar store, but then they have that eBay division. And so they gave me a 3-year warranty at any of their bricks and mortar stores on this full set at $8,500 for a 40 millimeter black on black stuff. I mean, guys, the AD is just never going to be able to compete with that. So don't worry. And this happens too. Think real. 2 months ago, I walked into the AD, no prior spend, and bought a no date sub. Every time I say you got to go in there, you got to be prepared, give it a year or two for the relationship to work. Somebody like Think Real will make a comment like this, which is good. It tells us that, every day somebody opens his chocolate bar, and finds the golden ticket. And Think Real, it was your day. So that is good. That is a good thing. GG, I've got 3 steel subs and 1 two-tone sub since 2021. Dude, what are you doing with 4 of them? It's like, that is hard to rotate. I mean, what 3 steel do you have since 2021? I mean, that must be a black one with a date, a black one with no date, and a Starbucks. And then what? Like a bluesy. That's what I'm thinking you got. You're worse than me. I at least spread my Submariner purchases out, over a period of time. But I think, man, you bought them all at once. Violinist Williams said he will think of the acquisition for getting a Rolex as the pizzicato. It's the dance through the system. Pizzicato, William. Well, let's leave these cretins out of it. But you and I, we know. It's about fingering, guys, and not in the Thailand sense. Rumble 22. Late last year, I sold my Pepsi. Wow, you did great. Sold a Pepsi for 27 because they're worth 10 grand less now. But I needed extra cash for down payment. You think I'll be able to get a Pepsi? You can get it right now. You sold it for 27. You can go buy it for 16, 17. That's like buying, a stock. It's like buying Tesla low, selling it high. The market corrects and you buy it low again. That's beautiful. You can go get one right now. Now, can you go get one out of the AD? Depends on your AD relationship. It's still a very, very top of the pyramid, watch. The Rolex is at the tippy top. The whole Rolex is a pyramid. There's no bad Rolex. Air King, Rare King, Milgauss. There's no such thing. Datejust. There is no bad Rolex. There is no easy to get Rolex. Maybe when you get into those little ladies ones, the 28 millimeter, ladies Datejust. But in dudes' watches, there is no easy one. There is no bad one. So the whole thing is a pyramid that's hard to climb. Okay, it's all Mount Everest. Some of them are at base camp. Some of them are at the summit. Well, right near the sun, right at the summit are all the Daytonas. But just like a few meters below the summit is any one of the GMTs, and then any one of the the subs. And your GMT is like super up there. The only thing harder to get than a Pepsi, is a steel Daytona. So it's tough. Could take a really long time. But honestly, unless you got an AD who really likes you, I would just go buy it on the gray market and say, hey, I made a huge profit, 10 grand. That's what I would do. Good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Do I play the piano forte? I don't play that. See that piano over there? I don't play it at all. Actually, I know how to play Heart and Soul. That's all I know how to play on it. Heart and Soul. I'd be happy to play a duet with any one of you. Sadly, I am not musical at all. And for those of you who think that I live in a mansion, it's virtual. But I do live on a beautiful dog farm. That I do. You know what, guys? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a night. I really apologize. I know I didn't get to all these comments, but we're a little over an hour, and that's about as long as I like to go. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Subscribe to this channel because I really would like to do this again with you. I do all kinds of content. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for being with me. Stick with me throughout the year. Subscribe, like. We got a lot to talk about this year. Rolex. It's not just a brand. It's a lifestyle. Goldberg. Peace out.